Spotlight series. I'm Priya Naik, the founder of Samhita, and I'm delighted to be talking to you today. You've been this incredibly visionary founder of Mann Deshi. You've demonstrated deep empathy and really pioneered transformative initiatives that have transformed the lives of the women that you touch. Through Mann Deshi Foundation, you continue to empower countless women in rural areas, providing them with access to financial resources, entrepreneurial skills, and really essential tools for self-reliance and self-empowerment. Your innovative approach, Chetna, really has ensured that we've not just bridged the gender gap in entrepreneurship, but you're really igniting these economic revolutions in the communities that you serve. So today in the Spotlight Conversations, Catalysts for Prosperity, we were hoping to spotlight your unwavering commitment to creating a much more equitable world and demonstrating the need for sustainable financial independence for women across all communities. We're so delighted to have worked with you as part of the Revive Alliance to achieve this common goal. So just to get us started, Chetna, Mann Deshi Foundation focuses on the holistic empowerment of women. If you can talk about how you've really acted as a catalyst of change and driven economic growth in the rural communities that you serve.
Thanks, Samhita, and I'm thankful that we are having this conversation about women entrepreneurs and economic growth. So, Mann Deshi Foundation was started nearly 2.5 decades before. We are celebrating, or I would say like this is our 26th year. And at that time, we never thought that, of course, one thing was very clear that want to work with women. But women themselves actually said that we want to improve our lives, we want to increase our income, and there are no jobs available here. And so if we are not getting jobs, then finally we will have to end up doing either the work of construction laborers or the work of stone breakers, which we do not want to do. So when women said that, we thought, that Mann Deshi Foundation should focus on the areas where women want to address those. And what do they want? So they want an economic activity or to empower them economically, have the additional income. And anyway, when Mann Deshi always works in the rural areas, remote locations, there are no industries, there are no jobs there. So then how will they improve their lives? And so then we thought that the best way to do is that we start an entrepreneurship program. So Mann Deshi Foundation started a business school for rural women. A business school for those rural women who had never been to the school. They never got an opportunity to go to high school. And so how the whole idea was that once they get the training of financial literacy, digital financial literacy, training of business training, and this is the year I'm talking is 1997, when nobody was even talking about financial literacy. So we thought, so Mann Deshi Foundation started business school and later extended to chambers of commerce, and Mann Deshi Bank we set up, which was there. So on one side, providing the business skills, training, capacity building, providing the market through chambers of commerce to these women entrepreneurs. And on the other side, when there is a need for the finance, capital, saving, credit, the bank takes care of it. So it is the holistic approach that it not only empowers women by just giving them training or skilling, but also support them to start the business, get the capital and get the market. And that's how actually they drive. They not only their income of the family increase, but also the economy of the villages thrive. So this is the whole comprehensive approach of Mann Deshi Foundation and Mann Deshi Bank. And I'm proud to share with you, Priya, that we have impacted nearly 950,000 women by now. 2024 will be our celebrating 1 million women entrepreneurs.
Many congratulations, Chetna. I've seen you through that journey, and I must say that, me and everybody else who've actually witnessed the transformation you've created has been just so grateful for the work that you're doing, right? So thank you very much. Our partnership with you through the Revive Alliance was designed very specifically to impact those women who could not get access to credit, right? Who were new to credit, new to businesses. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with a returnable grant and what impact do you think it created?
So actually, Priya, Mann Deshi has a bank also, and foundation had never done anything related to credit before. But still at that time, we thought that returnable credit, which is given by foundation, will be very important. Why did we think that? After COVID and also before COVID also, one thing which I saw always lacking with the banking system is that either it is NBFC or banks, they provide microcredit to women, but they consider women in a group. Why group? Because they don't have collateral, they don't have credit history. So if you don't have collateral, don't have credit history, banking system does not recognize you as an individual. Just for women they do it because they don't have that. So then they get GLG, they get access to credit, but they get in form of the group only. And actually speaking, this does not help women entrepreneurs. One cycle it's fine when you are getting first time access to credit, you prove it, you get your credit score. But women entrepreneurs always need access to credit which recognize them as an individual, which consider how much amount they want and at what time they want, and also with less papers in. So then when this whole idea came up with Revive, that why don't we do the returnable grant, we felt that it would be very, very important for women who are already dreaming of the business. They want credit, but they don't want to be the part of the group because they are doing their individual business. And that is where actually the most important part for women is to recognize them as an individual who is having a regular economic activity. So then we said that why don't we, in spite foundation has not done this, providing a credit to women, foundation has not done, Mann Deshi Bank has done. But if we do it, it will help women to establish them as an entrepreneur. And so then we decided that why don't we do this returnable grant where women will get then access to credit, and of course these women will come as an individual. Now these women who come as an individual for returnable grant, they don't have any credit score. They don't have digital transaction. They don't have a digital history of their working capital or any history of the working capital. So then how do you provide, it's that how would you decide, right, that how much amount they want, what is their appetite. So since the beginning when we decided, we started working on two areas. One was to work on providing a digital platform to women so that whatever they borrow, it is transferred to their account, and whenever they repay, they also repay digitally. So that was one. At Mann Deshi's end, or I would say like supply side, you have to be always ready for the client that if you are providing a digital platform, it has to be at ease to them, and they should be able to operate it. So we first invested in that, and we created a digital platform for these women who were going to get an access to a credit, very small amount, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. But this amount is very important for them because it is on their terms for when to get the loans and when to repay the loans. So that we created. And the second, that what is her appetite? What is her working capital? How will she be able to repay? All that, how do you do it? So then we decided to create a chart now which we are saying that credit rating tool. That based on that we decide that okay, if she needs to work more on her credit rating, and I will just explain, there are so many things in a business which are required, right? One is that the very clear idea of the business. What is your scope? How much is your business? What is your market? Then do you know from where will you get the raw material? Do you know where is the market available? Do you know your clients? So those are the things. The others are registrations, that how do you do registration? You require a Shop Act license, or if you are in a food industry, say for example, you require FSSAI licenses. So all these things are required for the business. So we created a sort of a rating tool for women. Based on that, they can self-assess themselves, their status of the business, their stage of the business, and then how much capital or how much working capital they require. Instead of we saying that you will get this much amount or this much amount, let them self-assess themselves. So that's how we created. And in course of time, we also improved, and women got the access to credit through foundation. Now, when women got these loans, it was, of course, when the whole idea started, it was post-COVID. Nobody was giving loan, and all the microcredit agencies were also not providing. So it was very important, and also in their family, men had lost the jobs. So family was totally dependent on these women. So I think that was the very important time where otherwise families would have shattered. But these women got an access to credit through returnable grant. They could keep their family, not only just the business going, but feed the family also. So that's how this school, and the most important part, I would say, that at that time in the banking sector, all the MFIs and all, they were asking, like Reserve Bank should say that they should restructure the loan, people may not repay the loan and all. But we found in case of returnable grant the other way around. Women were saying that we will get money, if we get a credit, we will repay in time. And even during COVID, our repayment rate was 100%. So that actually itself explained that women were getting what they want. So I think that was very important.
Thank you, Chetna. And like you said, right, that, through our partnership with you, Mann Deshi ended up impacting about 5,300 women using returnable grants across Maharashtra. And like you were saying, you've seen 100% repayment rate in spite of multiple COVID waves and all of the challenges that women go through. So if you had to provide, let's say, 3 reasons for why you were so successful, and so all other organizations were thinking about returnable grants, what do you think are the 2 or 3 things that you and your team did very, very well? And I know that, it was really the close relationships that you have with the community and with the women and the commitment of your team that really was instrumental in the success. So 3 secrets from you.
Number 1, getting the loan for working capital, it is not otherwise possible. And so to get the amount, what you want and the way you want is very important. So that was very important. Number 2 is that if they want to buy machinery, many times they don't get, in the banking system, they would say you will have to do a hypothecation loan and all those things. Here what Mann Deshi said that yes, you can buy the machineries, we can link with your, another thing is we can link with the vendors and then you can buy the machinery. So that was another which was very, very important. And then the third, as we started working, and it was during the COVID, but because women were so well digitally, they became so savvy digitally that even they were able to pay their vendors digitally because they were getting, the source was digital. So that was very, very helpful to them, that during COVID times, the payments were done also from distance. And and of course, Mann Deshi had the relationship and all, but another most important aspect was that everything was made available to them at their doorstep. Either doorstep or digitally, they did not have to come to the office at all.
Chetna, I know that, the returnable grant, and I think the wisdom that you displayed to say everything has to be digital, buy assets, right, is now ensuring that these women who took and paid back the returnable grant are now getting individual loans through the bank. So maybe tell us a little bit about the other initiatives that you may be working on, such as the credit score. We'd love to have as many people as possible actually hear about it.
See, actually, if you are going to address the people, those who are financially excluded, there are 2 areas which they always struggle with. One is that they always want access to savings, which of course is a part of the banking system. The other is that they need a credit score. If they need credit, they need a credit score. Now it is a like chicken egg situation, right? You will not get in India. How do you get credit score? If you have not taken a loan and not repaid the loan, you are not on those credit rating agencies platform. Your identity is not there, and so you don't have any score, so you don't get any loan. So finally women end up taking the loans, a high cost loan, and I would say that because they don't have credit score, there's a lot of business for money lenders to give loan, right? So and it is very, very important that they don't have score, but they can repay the loan. And we must be having huge population which has a capacity of repaying the loan, but because they don't have credit score, they don't get. And we have a huge population, they know how to manipulate the credit score and they can get multiple loans, even in those areas. I mean, I'm saying like in low income. So then when we decided that we will actually build the credit score for the returnable grant, and then we explained our women also that how you can improve your credit score also. Say for example, if you are starting the business and you do not have a Udyam Aadhar, add Udyam Aadhar, you will get one more mark. I mean, we have designed, I'm not going into the calculations, but design in that way. If you are running a catering business, any food business, and if you do not have a license, there is not a scope to scale the business unless you get the license, right? Then your clientele will be increased. So then if you have a license, your score increases. If you are doing branding and packaging, then your score increases. Why these milestones are there is that there is a scope for women to think her business on a big scale, and she can go to the scale. This will also prepare her to go to the mainstream banking sector. And so the credit score not only worked for women entrepreneurs, but it also worked for the mainstream bankers also, to give that confidence. So what Mann Deshi did with the returnable grant is that we created that model of credit score, improved it, and we are still improving it. And at the same time, simultaneously, the women who actually repaid, we gave a certificate of credit score to them and said that now you can go to the bank. And you can go to the bank and say that we want a bigger loan. Of course not. I mean, here they were not paying interest here, but they will get a big loan, they will pay the interest either under Mudra and take this credit score and the certificate of repayment of the loan also, so that banks will actually at least look at you, consider your proposal. And I'm proud to share with you, Priya, that when we did this partnership with State Bank of India on Mudra loans, that where we said that all women who have actually taken a returnable grant from Mann Deshi, they are prepared for the bigger loan. You use your Mann Deshi's credit rating tool in the application form of SBI, you rate them, they don't have a CIBIL score or high mark score. These are the companies which names I am taking. So they don't have that, but they have their own assessed credit score which Mann Deshi has assessed, and they have repaid the loan. So they have that credibility. So you can take a risk of giving the loan to these women. So in a way, actually this credit rating tool which Mann Deshi had developed, it was de-risking the bankers also. And that's how the bankers' risk was diluted, I would say, or addressed, I would say. And then so many women, they got the bigger loan from the mainstream bank also. We did this partnership with State Bank of India, with Bank of Baroda, and with Canada Bank. So that's how we are, and we are already trying to convince in the mainstream banker or in Niti Aayog that how this credit rating tool is important. And Aayog actually being a part of G20 and leading the financial inclusion group of G20 Empower, we have also in the communique, we have said two things. One is that how it's not only in India, it's across the world where women are struggling to establish their enterprise, and first time borrower, when they have to borrow first time, they don't have any score. This credit rating tool can really help them, that is one. And the extension of now credit rating tool, now we are creating the asset registry of women, where whatever assets women are building as their income is increasing, because those assets are their own and there is no data otherwise. I mean, we have that data that women don't own hardly any, less than 10% of women own property in all over the world. But that is very important. One should actually, we have to work on that also. But there are a lot of assets like animals, like gold, like machineries, and all these multiple assets. We have also now created an asset registry of women that is also in our data, where we can say that if women come in the mainstream borrowing system or they start borrowing, they build their business, they build their assets also. So that becomes a very important, that how they can, their credit worthiness can, they build their credit worthiness.
Chetna, thank you. These are transformational initiatives, right? Because not only are they helping the women that you serve, but they become public goods for the larger ecosystem to also adopt at scale. My last question. You've really pioneered many aspects of financial inclusion when it comes to women. So what are your calls to action to potential funders who may be watching this?
So the first thing I would say that for potential funders, that microcredit had been very successful. It's a nearly more than $60 billion industry just in country like India, right? But at the same time, whatever data we are seeing about individual entrepreneurship among women, and that is very disturbing. World Economic Forum did this global index on gender global index. India is one of the last 5 countries when it comes to the women entrepreneurship, and now I think it has even gone down. So if you really want women entrepreneurs to come forward to flourish, to have a more and more women setting up the enterprise, it is very important that individual women get the access to credit, not just JLG. Microcredit is successful, but microcredit has not graduated from microcredit to micro enterprise. Now, if we want to provide an access to credit to micro enterprise, it is very important that we will have to provide multiple proof of concept so that the banking industry will consider this. And again, I am revising this word, that funders will have to, because banks are depositor taking institution. They will not take the risk. And I also find that there is a genuinity behind it. I don't justify that they should give loan to women, but at the same time, there is always a risk because they are handling depositors' money. So it's very important that we require a philanthropic capital which will be very strategically utilized by taking those initiatives of providing the access to creating individual women who own enterprise. Or I would say that how would we create this whole ecosystem of providing the credit rating tool, having the asset registry, digital platform. All this ecosystem has to be created for the people, those who are financially excluded. People, those who are in mainstream borrowing system, they have everything. Who will create this ecosystem? Either government has to come forward to create these public goods like credit rating tool, public goods like having the asset registry for women, or the philanthropic capital can create that. And how will we create it is that after proving we have not only Priya 5,300 women actually are from Revive, right? But Mann Deshi has given this revolving with this whole idea which came up from Revive, but we have given to nearly 11,000 women from Foundation. And I'm so proud to share with you that repayment is 100%. So, and again, it is going to revolve, right? It is not, so from even 11,000 and the amount is going to again, we will give to more and more women. So it's not one time. So that capital also has that potential that many more women will get an access to credit who are entering into the business as a first-time borrower. So if we want to create that whole ecosystem of these public goods which are going to provide, increase the credit worthiness of those women, actually these women will be able to build the assets. And once they build the assets, these women are going to establish their business, scale their business. Scaling of business is not possible otherwise. They will have to go step by step. Small loan, big loan, then they go to mainstream banking sector, where they will get the big loans, but directly they cannot. And once they scale their business, they are only going to give the jobs. I am very proud, Priya, that our partnership has created thousands of first-time generation women entrepreneurs. They are not coming from the family of entrepreneurs. They have actually created their family as an entrepreneurial family. And these families are going to scale their business, and then there is a second generation who will come, who will provide jobs to women. So I do feel that philanthropic capital will not only just support these women, make them successful entrepreneurs, scale their business, but create also jobs for women and the assets for women.